once again, Daily Tech News Show remains a Star Wars spoiler-free zone. So if you're worried about that, rest easy. Hear that, Veronica?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. John? You good
Oh,
with
yeah.
that? Yeah. All right. Just checking.
But it was really awesome.
Ah! So you liked it. That's good.
That's all I'm saying.
That's not a spoiler to say.
I know.
It was fun.
Let's all say bland things about Star Wars because we can't say anything else.
You know, I really enjoyed it. The fact that it was a movie that took place on a screen in a theater.
Yep. And with that, I'm going away.
All right.
Good show.
We'll see you in a little bit. All right, here we go. We're going to start the old, ye old audio.
0.02% of the Daily Tech News Show were brought to you by me. If you would like to decrease my already meager equity, go to dailytechnewsshow.com/support.
This is the Daily Tech News for Monday, December 21st, 2015. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me today, Veronica Belmont, DTNS contributor and host of Dear Veronica on Engadget. How are you post-Star Wars opening weekend, Veronica Belmont?
Oh, it feels good, man. It feels good. I don't have to think about it anymore. Spoilers cannot hurt me.
Yes.
And there will be no spoilers on this show, just so you
Correct.
guys know.
Just
We've
so you
covered
know,
that.
it is a spoiler-free zone. But that is the best way to arm yourself against them, is to actually see the movie, I guess. Jon Schiefer, filmmaker and CEO of Brandex Industries, is here as well. Jon, thanks for joining us.
Of course. Yeah, it's a pleasure. I love the show, and I'm a big fan of yours personally.
Oh, well, thank you. I am a fan as well of Algorithm, which we'll be talking about in a little bit after we do our headlines. And Jon, jump in on if you have anything to say about the headlines when we're going along. Just pipe right on up. Don't be afraid.
I got a lot to say. So.
Awesome. I'd like to hear that. Let's take a look at them. Microsoft will buy Ray Ozzy's Boston startup Taco for an undisclosed amount, according to Fortune. Taco specializes in smartphone-based work group collaboration. It sort of lets team members know when each other are online, can do things like retain audio and notes from meetings, and improves voice quality, which for people who actually talk over their phones is an important thing. Technology will live on in Skype. In an email response to to Fortune, Ozzy said he would not rejoin Microsoft, but Taco's San Francisco, Seattle, and Boston teams will. Ozzy was CTO and then chief software architect at Microsoft between 2005 to 2010. He first joined Microsoft when the company acquired his computer-assisted collaboration startup called Groove Networks. He also worked on Lotus way back in the day. So he is a talented programmer and, once again, somebody who made some money off Microsoft.
There you go. Yeah, I have a feeling this is going to be their attempt at a Slack killer at some point. It sounds like they're making Skype, which is already something that is very, has that name brand recognition, has that adoption throughout the world as a communications platform, to then go into collaboration, go into file sharing, go into communication. I think that would make sense to me, at least.
It would be interesting to see Skype go in a Slack-like direction, actually. Yeah.
But then have that voice chat, which is something that Slack doesn't currently have.
Well, yeah, exactly. If you took Skype and added Slack to it, then there's all kinds of possibilities.
But that would ruin it, because I don't want voice chat ever. I don't ever want to talk to human beings. I just want to type to them. This is the exception in my week.
Jon, are you the same? Because I'm the same as Veronica. Like, I just don't want to talk.
I've resigned myself to the way that everybody else communicates. I've noticed that everyone I collaborate with likes to communicate via a different method. Some email. I like email just because it's a written record of our communication. Some people like text. Some people like voice. I actually prefer one-on-one in person, but that's not as easy to do around the world. So, sure. Yay for Skype and Google+.
CBS's TV program 60 Minutes showed portions of an interview with Apple CEO Tim Cook on Sunday. Cook defended his stance against weakening encryption, saying, "If you put a backdoor in, that backdoor is for everybody, the good guys and the bad guys," adding, quote, "I don't believe that the trade-off here is privacy versus national security. I think that's an overly simplistic view. We're America. We should have both." Cook also defended his company's overseas tax practices and the use of Chinese companies for manufacturing.
Now, as somebody who's made a movie about hackers, I imagine, Jon, you've given some thought to the idea of people building in backdoors. Tim Cook has I don't think surprisingly, but maybe surprisingly and as often and as publicly he has done it, been very staunch in his defense against putting any kind of patch or backdoor or anything regarding encryption that his users can use.
Yeah, his argument is absolutely right. The moment you do that, anybody who stumbles across the back door is just going to hammer away and find the password. That's only a matter of time. Apple is Steve Gibson did an amazing podcast about the level of detail and specificity of the encryption on the iPhone using like completely different circuit paths for encrypted stuff that never even goes through the central memory. So Apple has really done their level best to create a secure encrypted thing, and basically the U.S. government is saying you should break your awesome thing for us so that our jobs can be easier, which of course would fundamentally undermine their entire business.
Mm-hmm.
eBridge has posted the sad news that Toshiba will cut 7,800 jobs as part of a major revitalization action plan. It's not going to be very revitalizing if you lose your job. Majority of affected employees work in the consumer electronics division. Toshiba projects a $4.5 billion loss for the fiscal year ending in March. The company was found to have declared $1.2 billion in false profit a while ago, and CEO Hisao Tanaka stepped down on July 21st, 2015.
That's a shame because they were killing laptops in the beginning.
Yeah, I remember admiring some Toshiba devices quite a bit. They've been around for a long time. They still make some good products, but they're starting to divest themselves of a lot of this stuff.
Reuters reports Ericsson and Apple have signed a 7-year patent license deal. The deal will cover 2G and 4G technology used in Apple devices and ends the legal battle around payments between the two after the previous deal expired at the beginning of 2015. Both companies have agreed to work together on developing 5G technology.
Yeah.
All the G's.
Yeah, all the G's.
Raining G's.
The grand of patent fees per minute that Ericsson will be getting. All those G's. This has been a negotiating tactic, a very brutal and drawn-out negotiating tactic by both parties, Apple and Ericsson here. But it's good to see it settled. Pew Research Center's latest survey of people in the U.S. finds the percentage of residents with home broadband connections has dropped from 70% last year to 67%, or last survey anyway, to 67%. Same percentage the country had in 2012, actually. So we are back to 2012 broadband penetration levels. However, 13% of those surveyed are smartphone only when it comes to the internet, and that is up from 8% in 2013. 33% of those who don't have a home broadband connection cite cost as the main reason. Also in the same study, 15% say they have become cord cutters, not kidders. I was just kidding. I'm not canceling cable. 15% say they have become cord cutters, and 9% never subscribed at all. So that's a total of 24% without cable or satellite television. Again,
That's
cost.
It's got to be the smartphone thing, right? It's got to be that people are paying for smartphone data and they don't necessarily think they need to have their phone connected to a Wi-Fi connection when they're at home, and they're still able to stream content and do all the things they need to do. And that's a big savings at the end of the day if you're not paying that extra between $50 and $150 a month for cable internet, because you're already paying $100 to $150 for a data plan on your cell phone. So I can see why potentially that could cause this small drop.
Yeah, I would agree with Veronica. The composer I worked with in Scotland, he has a broadband and a cell phone, but he found that his cell phone connection was in fact faster than his broadband, and he had unlimited. So that's most of the file transfers that we did were over his cell phone. But that's purely anecdotal to the study.
But if you look at broadband prices, sometimes to get LTE or better speeds equivalent of, you have to pay in the hundreds of dollars. And a lot of people look at $40 a month, even with a data limit on their cell phone plan, and then $100 to get faster broadband at home. Just cut it out altogether. You might as well just use the phone. And I think this is kind of, maybe for some, an unexpected avenue of competition that's happening where people can start to rely on a wireless connection. Obviously, somebody like me can't for what I do here, but the average user who's just like, I just want to watch some YouTube and surf the web.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. For power users like us, it's not feasible, but for most people, it's a perfectly functional solution.
A lot of people just have internet at work. They can just use their work connection
Sure.
to do things that are more, data intensive. And
If
then
they need to watch
at home,
that Flash video, then they
there
can
you
just do that at work.
But those numbers are really interesting to me. All right, moving on. Facebook giveth and Facebook taketh away. TechCrunch notes that on Monday, Facebook began to support live photos, with support rolling out over the next couple of weeks to users of its iOS app. Any user running iOS 9 will be able to view them, and The Guardian notes Facebook has switched all video to HTML5, woohoo, ending its use of Flash to show video. Facebook continues to support Flash-based games because, of course, it does.
Because it makes money off Flash-based games, essentially. But yeah, HTML5 has been talked about for years and years. We probably were talking about it on Buzz Out Loud back in the day.
I would not be surprised.
And it's finally starting to conquer the universe here.
I read that Adobe even stopped developing Flash, so it's officially...
Oh yeah, it's dead. It's
Yeah.
totally dead.
They're maintaining it for people like, I don't know, people who make Flash games for Facebook, but they have taken it out of the name of their animation software, and yeah, everybody's moving away from it. The co-author of XML, Tim Bray, has suggested a new error code for web pages that have been blocked for legal reasons. Instead of using a 403 error, which basically says that access is forbidden but doesn't give you any insight into why, viewers of censored pages would receive a 451 error, which is, of course,
that is so cool.
a reference to Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451. The Internet Engineering Steering Group has approved it for use, though there's still a bit more work to be done to finalize it. And of course, developers, they decide whether they're going to use these error codes or not when they configure their web servers. But it is an option for a developer now to use.
Love it. That is the coolest thing I've heard all day.
I
don't know
debating
why.
between that error code and 1984. But maybe 1984 is this website's watching you.
Yes,
Yeah,
there's
there you
someone
go.
else. There's a man in the middle attack ongoing.
That's amazing. Such good ideas. SP Sheridan submitted the Engadget post from Sunday, noting that the first website went online 25 years ago, December 20th, 1990, internally over at CERN. Public access was not allowed until the following August 6th, 1991, but it's pretty cool. I think that's, gosh, yeah, websites couldn't even rent a car until yesterday.
Yeah. Well, internally. They still won't until next August publicly.
Little golf carts that they drive around CERN, like under the.
I've always looked at that first public page as the anniversary of the web, but it seemed like a lot of folks, including SP Sheridan, were excited about this 25th anniversary. And it is a milestone marker, right? It's the first time a web page was ever put up for anyone else to access other than the people working on developing the web.
So that was an intranet they had.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess in a way it was.
It was a
TechCrunch
website, but not on the internet, on the intranet, I guess.
TechCrunch's John Russell points out an interesting move by Canadian messaging app maker Kik. That could be a sign of an emerging trend. Kik is buying Blink, B-L-Y-N-K. Blink is a maker of a chatbot about style, so you can talk fashion with it on Kik's platform. Russell points out that several successful services are showing up on Tencent's WeChat platform and even raising money without ever having a website or even their own app. Just something that's on a platform. So it's looking like messaging platforms may become the next app development platform, at least for some companies.
Also, what did I say about bots?
I'm really curious what the Blink AI is going to do when it becomes self-aware. He's like, this coat really isn't working for me. Just doesn't fit my Mac Pro body.
It just automatically locks your doors if it doesn't like the way you're dressed.
It's like, nope, nope. You go back into the house and you change.
You are not leaving like that.
No.
Don't you know it's cold outside?
I've ordered something from Stitch Fix for you. It'll be here shortly.
There you go. The Telegraph reports Spotify Premium will replace Rdio as the car's music partner in Europe, Australia, and Hong Kong. The service is free in the car, but the account will not work outside of the vehicle. Existing premium Spotify accounts can be linked to that vehicle as well.
Yeah. So it's almost a non-story. Tesla is swapping out their service providers. RDO is going out of business as they are.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't actually say Tesla anywhere in that blurb. So
Yeah.
thank you for bringing that up. Yes, it was Tesla as being the car.
Sliding
Just
that
cars.
in there. Since
Just
I was the
cars.
one who wrote it wrong, I figured I'd fix that. As the car. The car.
The car, just the car.
I'm going to rewrite it as my car since you have a Tesla in your family anyway.
It's not my car.
Well,
Thank you
under
very
California law, it is.
This is true. I didn't sign a prenup, so whatever.
Yeah. So
Half
anyway,
of that car is mine.
Europe, Australia, and
Hopefully
Hong
it's the
Kong,
battery.
free Spotify.
That's awesome. I'm kind of surprised they didn't just go Pandora in that case, because it sounds like if an existing deal was already in place, and if a lot of audio got kind of subsumed into Pandora, that maybe it would just make sense to use Pandora. But if popular public opinion is leaning towards Spotify as being the kind of go-to music service app at this point,
Sure.
then that also makes sense. And gosh, I am loving Spotify right now. I never thought I'd say that, but it is crushing it. I am a very happy subscriber.
My wife is a big
It's a nice
Spotify fan as well.
Yeah.
John, do you use a music service?
I didn't do Spotify because I'm friends with too many musicians who complain about the number that Spotify gives them. I signed up with Apple after Taylor Swift gave them a tongue lashing, and they changed because they are really supporting artists. Unfortunately, their radio generation, like you type in the song and it generates a series of song playlists for you, doesn't work as well as I might hope. But just the ecstasy of getting access to basically the entire world's music supply was kind of new to me, because when I was pirating music before I repented, not everything was there.
Yeah, that's true. I use Google Music All Access because I wanted to have a music locker online as well as the subscription service that I could mix and match on playlists. And my wife works for Google, but she uses Spotify. So it's just all a matter of taste and discovery and what you use it for. I don't really use it as much for discovery, which apparently Spotify is much better for. I like the songs stuff, though.
Pandora was amazing for discovery.
Yeah.
But then
Tom, did you disclose that your wife works for Google?
I did. You didn't hear that?
I heard you. I didn't know if it was a disclosure. It sounded more like just a comment. You did say it. I guess that technically counts as a disclosure, yes, saying the thing.
Yeah.
I just like it when you say that you have to disclose it. I like that part. That's the part I like.
You like it better when I just hold up a mug that says my wife works at YouTube?
Yes.
And then drink out of it?
That's even better. There you go. Delicious air coffee.
Delicious disclosure.
Does that count as written notification now, since it's been on the mug?
Yeah, it does. I think so.
Cool, we're legal.
That should hold up in court, right? I don't even think it's a legal issue, but I don't care. I'm very happy that you guys are supporting the show. In many ways, one of them submitting stories and voting on them at our subreddit, dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com, helps us figure out how to put the show together every day. So keep it up. We really appreciate it. dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. And that is a look at the headlines. All right. Of course, Jon Schiefer, as you can tell, very well versed in technology and somebody who keeps up on the stories of the day, but he's also a filmmaker and made a movie called Algorithm that you reminded me that we had you on Frame Rate back in the day when I was doing that show at Twit. And of course, you've been on Security Now, and you successfully have put out Algorithm now. It's available on Blu-ray. It's available on the internet. Tell us a little bit, for people who don't know, what is Algorithm?
Algorithm's basically the story of Edward Snowden if he hadn't fled the country, how that story might have gone, and if he wasn't working for the NSA. It's the story of a hacker for hire who, during a contract gig, discovers that the government has a massive search engine that tracks everyone, and how that goes down with his friends and fellow hackers.
I would assume probably not well.
And it takes place in San Francisco, Veronica, so you'll see several things you recognize in there.
Individual results may vary.
So, John, what made you want to make this kind of movie?
Originally, a college professor, sociologist friend of mine, and I were talking about how a lot of the tech guys were bemoaning the lack of skilled tech people in this country and how we have to import a lot of talent. Even the Tim Cook interview you mentioned said the reason that they work in China is that there just aren't enough skilled people to work in the factories. So I thought, well, the best way to do that would be to make hacking cool again. And to do that, the most efficient way is to reach people where they're at, which is via a TV show and a movie. Then I began actually kind of listening and researching, primarily again on Steve Gibson's Security Now, and just got into the world and saw that there was how how insecure everything actually is, which was initially horrifying, and then because of an interview I did with the programmer Larry Wall, who wrote Perl, got a real insight into the mindset of hackers and how they think about the world, and just really started questioning the way we assume laws and individual privacy rights and things like that. And it really became fascinating and intriguing subject to me that warranted 3 years of my life.
So yeah, you took 3 years. It came out. When did it officially release for people to watch?
We did a 24-hour premiere on July 14th, Bastille Day, which did very well. It went kind of viral. Then we officially released on December 7th.
Of which year?
2014.
Yeah, that's important to note the year for people who may be following these kinds of shows. Tell us a little bit about your distribution methods, though, because you took some different approaches to creating the movie and getting people interested in the movie and letting people watch the movie.
A friend of mine, when I showed him the script and I wanted to start connecting with people, a friend of mine in LA said, "You are trying to walk up Mount Everest with this." And I said, "You underestimate what I'm trying to do. I'm actually trying to sprint up it." We couldn't do the things that the studio did simply because I wouldn't compromise the story in ways that they require. There were no naked women, which they often require. There were no explosions because hackers aren't super ninjas, at least not any of the ones that I've met. And we couldn't afford famous people because I didn't have the connection. So we had to come up with a completely different model. And that was crowdfunding. Barely enough to make the movie, not enough to actually distribute it. There was a generous donation after the fact that someone made that allowed me to fund distribution. And then we tried to take it to the standard venues, and because it didn't have the women explosions, super famous people.
It didn't have the famous exploding naked women.
Yeah, right. No one wanted to buy it. No one wanted to distribute it, so we're like, well, I don't want this thing to sit in a shelf, and if we let it sit long enough to actually kind of create a relationship with the distributor, what'll end up happening is because it's about technology, it will become a period piece real quickly. So we could have made relationships with studios. In 3 to 5 years it would come out, and then the iPhone 5 would look like kind of what it does today, although I think it's beautifully designed. But
it looks like an iPhone 5, and whenever I see it in a movie or a TV show, I think, oh, that's when that came out.
Right. Yeah, and I do that with every computer I see. I was like, oh, wow, well, they're using a Mac Classic. I guess this is from the 1980s.
Yeah.
And so I talked to the producers and the actors, and I was like, well, we can't sell this thing to people. No one wants to buy it at the American Film Market, which is an annual thing in Santa Monica. And what should we do with it? And they're like, well, why don't we just, I was like, are you okay with putting it on YouTube? Because it's already, after the July 14th release, it went, like I said, it kind of went viral and immediately was on every pirate site. So we knew there was an audience. It was a big audience, and we were just like, let's just get it to them. So we put it up on YouTube, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mean, that's something I hadn't really considered when you're targeting that kind of audience, that very tech-savvy, potentially hacker audience. There's got to be some kind of expectation that it might get pirated.
Yeah. I mean, that's not even the tech audience. It could be just garbage, and people are going to spread it just because somebody likes it somewhere. The thing for me was I assumed that because the tech audience is generally well-funded that they would pay for it, and they weren't paying for it. And I really got mad about it. I got really, really angry for like weeks. And I said, well, this is the way the world is now. I just have to adapt. And I came to the realization, and this is fundamentally what led me to think about YouTube, even consider it, not the period piece stuff, but this exact realization was that as a creator, as a content creator, I get to help determine what the world looks like. I get to decide how things get spread. And I realized that I don't like the way capitalism constrains things, and that people in Indonesia have to wait 6 months and get substandard quality, and it's not affordable, so that most people don't have access to it. I realized that the ideology or the idealism in Star Trek, which is actually how I referenced it in a blog post, that the future could be free, and that everything could be free, and that I just had to come up with a business model to make that viable. I realized that's the future I want, and then I started kind of reverse engineering. Well, how do we get there? And I said, well, as a content creator, it kind of starts with me.
And so
And that got picked up by the pirate party, International Pirate Party, which was a big deal.
I definitely respect and I understand the idea of giving content away, but how do you create content if you don't have the resources to do that?
You have asked one of the hardest questions that I have spent the last year and a half trying to solve, and I've come up with a really interesting solution that will be built into my next project. We kind of just figured, the producers, the actors, and I, that algorithm, as good as it is, we're probably not going to make money on it, but that getting our names out there is as important, and it has done that and to spare. So we kind of figured this was a loss leader. That said, unlike many independent films, it went in the black. It's in the black now. So I'm going to be sending out royalty checks in the next few days.
So you didn't make money off of it, but you didn't.
No,
lose
it is
money
profitable.
off of it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You didn't get rich off of it, is what you're saying.
No. Yeah. Well, almost nobody. Well, here's the thing. There's like 50,000 independent films made a year, and the ones that you hear about might be as many as 200, and even most of those don't make money. So the idea of being profitable is kind of extraordinary. Getting rich is a much, much smaller number. So
do we need to wait until the next movie to hear what this business model is going to be? Are you keeping it under wraps? Are you still developing it?
I've got a pretty good idea of what I would like to do, but it's kind of NDA right now.
Sure.
Just because I want to be. The thing is, like, I can't afford standard Hollywood level press, so I actually have to make legitimate news.
Yeah.
And that requires being innovative.
And you just made a movie about hacking, so you know people in the audience are going to assume that that's what you mean by that. I don't think that's what you mean.
No, well, that was actually a really interesting problem. I was like, the level of skill that the fans and followers of Algorithm have really limits the kinds of things that I can put out there and say, can my fans do these things? Facebook has like a call to action. Yeah. I was really afraid to press that button because I was like, what can I possibly ask in a way that this won't go wrong?
Yeah,
right. Like, what am I going to get from this? Yeah.
Totally.
Is it Patreon? Is Patreon your method? Because that's what we do.
The problem is that standard methods like Patreon or crowdfunding campaign cannot legitimately fund a Hollywood level movie. I did the math. I made Algorithm for the actual production budget was about $6,000, which is crazy low because everybody on it worked for free. I did the math on what it would cost if I had paid everyone standard union minimums, not even like rich Hollywood, but just like blue collar Hollywood, and it would have been a $700,000 movie. So you can't get that kind of money on Patreon. Rarely does it happen, even on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So and what I'm planning now is a much larger project, so I had to find another way to get money enough so that people could be paid what they need, a living wage.
Well, I'm very curious to see how you handle this problem. Obviously, I'm dealing with similar problems myself and have my own ways of dealing with them. But if you could give advice to a director or a writer who wants to make a computer-oriented film, a technology-oriented film of any kind, what would you tell them?
Do the research. Just spend time learning about the world. There are 100,000 stories out there, from documentaries to narratives that can be told. I just barely scratched the surface. Algorithm touches maybe 10 to 5% of what I learned just by researching for 6 months. Find podcasts, read books, follow people like you that talk about tech, and just dig into the stories and find out what's behind them. And you'll see a world that you don't need. Like, I didn't even have to make anything up. Like, the only thing I made up was that little can that the main character sets near the house. And even that the hackers have built for real now. So the rest of it was like I can back up every single hack that was done in there by a reference. So research the stuff, and that research should naturally lead to amazing stories that I frankly want to hear and see.
Is it called can of worm? Like
I called it can
singular?
of worm. Yeah, because it was one can of one worm.
It's just one. Okay. Because
It was a play on words.
Yeah. All right. I like it. I just wanted to make sure I was hearing it right.
No, you were. Yeah, you got it right.
Well, folks, definitely check out Algorithm, brandexindustries.com/algorithm. You can watch it for free there, right?
Yeah, it's available up on YouTube. There's the version on YouTube is the version we released on December 7th. But the DP after that, he wasn't kept in the loop, and he's like, "Do you think we should do a color correction before we release it?" And I was like, "Satsuki, it's already been seen by 1 million people. It's kind of released now." But we did another color correction, and that, along with several audio commentaries, are available on the Blu-ray, which is also for sale on the website. As well as if you don't want to buy a physical disc, you can actually download ISOs of the DVDs, NTSC and PAL, and the Blu-ray if you have a very good connection, because 25 gigs is hard to download.
Not the cell phone connection, probably.
You could do it, but it's going to take a while.
Yeah. Let's get to our pick of the day. Andy from Connecticut has a quick one for us. He was looking for training materials for some CompTIA certifications at his local library and found out that the library has a relationship with lynda.com. He says, I log into Lynda, Lynda, by the way, via my library site to set up an account using my library card, and voila, access to all the Lynda training videos I need for free. Totally cool service to my library and by Lynda. I know, right?
That's great.
Lynda's awesome. I use learn all of the software I need to know, as does every professional I know.
Andy says, I don't know how prevalent this is, but check your local library before you plunk down any cash because there may be a partnership there. So thank you, Andy. Good tip there. It's not even a pick as much as it is like a handy, helpful hint if your local library takes part in that. Send your picks to us, folks. Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. You can find more picks at dailytechnewsshow.com/picks. John, if you had to pick outside of Algorithm, a really good representation of hacking in movies or TVs, could you come up with one? Is there one that you look at and go, yeah, that's a really well done version?
When I was pitching Algorithm to the hacker conventions that it screened at HopeX, which is 2600's convention, and then another one in London, I said, Algorithm is the best hacker movie since War Games. Which was amazingly well done. So well done that it actually changed legislation and freaked out Congress and came up with terms like war driving. I love War Games. I love Sneakers. They were written by the same guy. Those are the best I've seen. I've heard a lot about Mr. Robot. I personally haven't seen it. A lot of the hackers that I talk to love it. But War Games and Sneakers are my favorite by far.
Yeah, well, and all of those do a great job of using the drama inherent in the technology rather than changing the technology to make it more dramatic.
That's exactly it.
Which, by the way, I am not alone in this. I love the line where the agent in Algorithm asks him to enhance the resolution, and the guy responds, "Well, you can't do that. There's only the resolution I have."
Yeah,
that was well done. Thank you.
Thank you. The guy that actually said that is a TV production guy, and he loved saying the line. Yeah, that was his studio we were filming in.
Jonathan wrote into us, feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com, said, my guess to a reason why they don't just put out the most popular search terms in browsers is because you don't type in a separate box when you search. He's like, I find that I rely on the pop-up history of the search bar and will often try to quickly arrow down in the list to catch the website that is on the top, and often I fail and I end up at a Google search page result. I know it's funny to think that there are many people searching for how to find Facebook, and I'm sure there are people that still do that, but I doubt it's enough to make it the most popular term. I don't know, man.
Mm-hmm.
I think it probably buffs up the results a bit, but I'm still thinking a lot of people are just searching Facebook. Also, Facebook, like if you're looking for some information about Facebook, that will make that search term go up in the list too. So it doesn't have to be looking for the actual site. Mark writes that the main driver for Walmart and others to add a point of sale payment alternative is mostly about gathering more personal information and not about cutting costs. This is a new way to gather more information about the customer at the time they are making a purchase to be used, and then for building deeper customer profiles. In terms of saving money, they can cut those same costs today by acting as one or more of the many parties involved in the credit or debit process flow. That has nothing to do with a mobile payment alternative, particularly, other than timing. People keep talking about Target and Walmart and others coming up with an alternative mobile payment solutions primarily as a means to save money. You even did this multiple times on Friday's show. But the mobile payment impetus is really about gathering more customer data. And if they lose to Apple and Samsung and others like that, they see it as a major lost opportunity to gather that information. And it's well said there, Mark. There are indications that they might be able to save some money doing this too, and that probably is about timing. But the big fight against the Samsungs and Apple Pays is that they get no customer information from those folks. So they want to control that.
I'm really sad. I'm not seeing Apple Pays. I'm not seeing these, point of sale units almost anywhere. I think maybe it's just I don't go to as many big box retailers probably as I just don't get a chance.
You just don't go to McDonald's as often as you'd like.
That's
Tom, I
interesting
miss the
because
good
I'm
old
seeing them all
days.
over the place. Like
Yeah,
I
I
went to
think-
a cheap Mexican hole-in-the-wall place, and there was Apple Pay stickers on the windows.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. I guess maybe I'm not looking hard enough for them. I did a question on Dear Veronica about being able to look them up, and there used to be websites that would show the MasterCard terminals where you could pay using those passes, but Apple Pay doesn't really have a good one, and I'm wondering if there's I would really like to see a map of locations that show where Apple Pay is accepted. That would be handy for me, and I think a big promoter for them too.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll build that.
Yeah.
I'll take a class on Linda.
There you go.
And build it.
Which you can do for free now, apparently.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, that is it for this episode of Daily Tech News Show. Thank you, dear Veronica. You see what I did there?
I saw,
That's
yes.
your show. Engadget.com it is where you go to look for Dear Veronica and then ask her questions on Twitter. Do you still need questions before the end of the year?
No, I'm writing the last 2 episodes that are going to be coming out right after CES today. So I'm in good shape up until the end of January. But that doesn't mean I still every time you write something with the hashtag Dear Veronica, it automatically goes into my spreadsheet using if this then that. So I will see all of your responses and they will be accumulated throughout time. And I always need new questions. So hashtag Dear Veronica.
And thank you, Jon Schiefer, for joining us as well. Again, check out twitter.com/brandxjon. That's BRANDXJON.
You can misspell it, and I own that one too.
You own the other one too?
Yeah, the
Smart.
JOHN.
Yeah. A fan, Kuhan, or listener in the audience, registered the misspelling of Ace Detect and is kind enough to direct people along on Twitter.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And also check out brandxindustries.com/algorithm if you want to take a look at the movie, buy the Blu-ray, or just keep an eye out on any news around that. Anything else to tell folks about, John?
The project I was weaving around is actually a 36-hour project that I'm trying to build about a CIA recruits a psychoanalyst to interview people coming up with radical technological innovations. That's the story.
Nice.
Exactly the details of it are NDA, and how I'm doing it is NDA. But that's the story. It's called Intelligent Design, and I had the horrible URL because the campers are camping all the good ones of intelligentdesignshow.com.
All right. So keep an eye on that as
So
well.
that's what I'm working on next.
Designshow.com. And if you are a CIA recruiter who would like to help John understand your business.
Yeah, I only have a couple of those, so
Yeah.
I always need more.
Always looking for more, I'm sure. Thanks, man. It was really fun having you on the show today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Thanks to all of our patrons who make it possible for us to do stuff like this each and every day. If you're willing to support the show, I ask you, go to dailytechnewsshow.com/support. Ask yourself, how valuable was the show for me? And then give that amount of value back in whatever form you want. You can just thank a boss. You can buy a mug. You can tell a friend. You can support us on patreon.com/DTNS. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. You can give us a call, 512-59-DAILY. It's 512-593-2459. Catch the show live Usually, Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern at alphageekradio.com and diamondclub.tv, and visit our website, dailytechnewsshow.com. Last live show of the year tomorrow with Patrick Beja. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
That was a lot of fun, John. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, it was a pleasure. We're still live?
What's that?
Yes.
For the hangers on, we're still live? Sweet.
Yeah,
Yes.
and generally what I do is while I edit the show, we all just kind of hang out and talk, and
Cool.
just everybody leaves whenever they need to. So
Yeah.
don't feel bad as soon as you need to hang off.
No, I'm here for you.
Awesome.
I just accidentally ordered 2 copies of Sloth Love on Inkshares. Oops. Well, who wants a copy of Sloth Love? It's about sloths.
There was
Yeah.
for Star Wars there was a preview for like Farmtopia or something like that, or Animaltopia,
Uh-huh.
Oh, Zootopia.
Zootopia, and
It
Oh,
was
I
on
didn't
my-
get that.
Yeah, it was
see
one of my
that?
Star Wars trailers.
Oh my gosh, it was hilarious.
Yeah, they did some sloth jokes.
They
Like
just
a-
did the entire. They just the preview was just one scene, and it was a riot.
Oh man, I didn't get that trailer. I want to see that. Sure,
Yeah,
tomorrow.
so I love sloths. They're my favorite animal.
Sloths.
There's some anti-drug commercial in Australia that is out using sloths, like people dressed up as sloths, as sort of this is what happens to you when you're on drugs. And the official Australian anti-drug unit is like, that's a really bad idea. It just makes people want to do drugs because
Yeah,
I just
you,
wanna cuddle
you too
him.
can be cute.
yeah.
I know.
You two
I know
can be
enough.
slow and adorable.
I know a couple meth heads that may disagree with those results, though.
Yeah. That's a really good point. It only applies to even metaphorically certain classes of drug.
Heroin, sloth,
Yeah.
everything else.
Yeah.
Wait,
All right,
one
let's
thing
look
we
at titles.
yeah, titles. Sorry. What do we got for titles?
we
Showbot.tv.
have some
No
things.
famous exploding naked women.
What?
Oh, geez.
No famous exploding naked women.
That's a
It says
typo.
exploiting,
that's
but that's what we know what it really means.
Well, you could make
Half
it
that
a
car is
T, or you
mine.
could make it an.
Do tacos go with that buyout?
So the funny thing is that it's spelled Talko, like
Yeah.
taco.
That's
But
clever.
it's tacos.
Delicious taco.
Cord kidders.
Where are you seeing this?
Oh, sorry,
Showbot.tv.
showbot.tv.
Oh,
So in the IRC, if you do bang S and then and a title, it'll automatically submit it here, and then people can vote on them.
all right. Oh, you mean for the title of the show?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. For this
Okay.
episode. Yeah.
Legally binding.
Skype with a
mug.
side of taco.
Put my
Legally binding mug. I like that.
I like that.
No, while I was trying to raise money to buy the hardware to film Algorithm, I was working at a company that did SEC certification training for like Series 7 exams
Uh-huh.
that you need to do to be a stockbroker. And I learned like the terms of what's legally binding, what counts as valid written notification, things like that. It was really fascinating.
Would
job.
my mug qualify then?
I don't know. Well, here's the thing. Like one of the really profound realizations for me was that Google Gmail is valid because Gmail is you can submit a Gmail email because it's timestamped as evidence in court.
I mean,
So that's actually how I copyright things. Is just send it to myself in a Gmail.
oh, really?
I have a
Because the
timestamp
timestamp is
and-
reflect. Yeah. All right.
If people can hack into Google, then we've got a lot bigger problems than my.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Sure. And you're saying they have to view it in Google. You can't just print it out and say, yeah, look at the timestamp, because I mean that could easily
Yeah,
be.
and then according to my lawyer friends, you also actually have to hire a computer specialist to explain why that's the case. But I think I have enough of those friends now.
That actually makes sense.
But it is submittable. Like that was a case. So the
Yeah.
mug being on Google, it is all timestamped now.
Well, now it is. That's true. Good point.
So it might be since there's an exact time log of when this was recorded, when this conversation took place.
Does this mean legally binding mug is now the name of the show, or?
And does it refer to the coffee cup or like our faces?
Good point. Could be either. All right, I need a title. What are we going with?
Legally binding mug.
Legally binding mug.
Legally binding mugs have it.
Oh, I'm so sleepy.
Just think.
I love your background, man.
Which, mine?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Like how you set that up. I really, like, as a pro filmmaker, I'm really disappointed with my own.
Oh, I did not set this up. Like, I had a guy come in, Brent
know a
Lai.
guy.
Yeah, he set up the lighting and the shot, made it so that that fireplace fills the background, like made sure we got all the depth.
That's a fireplace?
Yeah.
I thought you were like on a throne in some kind of torture chamber.
As far as you know, it's just a fireplace.
Game of tech.
No, seriously, it looks good. He did well.
Yeah. Some people think it's too yellow. But I think that's just because he's got a strip of LEDs back there illuminating the bricks that are kind of yellow tint.
Yeah.
I always thought it was green, but that's just...
Yeah, or green.
Yeah, it looks
A little
greenish to
green.
me. Sometimes.
But if you turn those off,
You don't see anything.
suddenly, yeah, you can't see anything behind me. But
Well, you could get a different LED color instead of yellow that would highlight the red and the bricks, but then everybody would write emails.
then it'd be too red. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's
think
just-
I think that one should be Tom of the Void.
Yeah.
Then there's this one. You know, that look
Yep.
didn't work. Screw that.
Yeah. Darkness.
I loved the first shot of Star Wars. Loved it.
Oh, wait. Yeah.
Oh, no,
say
that's,
what it is.
yeah, that's
Like,
too
yeah.
close. Too spoilery.
I mean,
Okay.
that is not spoilery.
No.
But if we can't go anywhere from there, I
Yeah,
guess.
I loved it.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
I love the last shot of Star Wars. If we're talking about shots.
I loved the 1,573rd frame
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah. So much. So great.
That would be like 30 seconds in.
I know, it's not that far in. I just didn't want to have to say a longer number.
Oh my god, I'm watching this video on Facebook, and it is of a bunch of golden retrievers, and they are carrying in groceries from a car.
They're
And
retrievers.
It's so adorable.
That's what they
And
do.
it's running back and forth from the door to the car and carrying the groceries. It's hilarious. I have to train Bodega to do this. Wait,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
You have a Tesla and a dog named Bodega?
I do have
That
a
is
dog.
so awesome.
I'm not sure how they're related, but yes.
They're both awesome.
I think
That's how- that's
that's
how
some version of living the life.
That's what I'm saying.
Bodega, you want to come say hi? Come here.
Aw, come here,
Say
Bodega.
hi to everybody.
John,
Hi, there she is.
where are you based?
I am currently in a
Region.
chair.
Oh, very good. I like that. I like that.
You see
no,
Bodega
I
dog?
live in Costa Mesa. My wife's
Ah,
a physical
yep.
therapist, and we have to live within close proximity to her work, which is
Cool.
in Cyprus, because she
Cool.
works with terminally ill children.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, she's my conscience.
Gotcha.
You need a comfort puppy around.
Yeah,
She's good at being a comfort puppy.
yeah. Except she can talk.
Oh yes. Oh, I meant yes. That's not what I meant. Yes.
For the children.
yes. And yourselves.
Wait,
That's
hold
hard.
on. That would have
Oh, that's a happy looking dog right now.
You get some head scratches.
Yeah.
Head scratches.
You might win for coolest dog name.
Bodega. She's got a lot of nicknames. Old Dirty Bodega. Bobo Degs.
Bodhi?
No, we don't. We call her. Oh, Bobo. Bobo's her big one. We were calling her Boyegi and Boyega, and then I can't call her that anymore because now there's the John Boyega.
John Boyega,
yeah. That's
Ah.
his name. I was like, it feels weird, but yeah. So, Bodegs is a big one.
We started calling Sawyer Kylo last night because he was
Aw.
Oh, really?
turning to the dark side.
That's a good. There's going to be a lot of animals named after Star Wars characters.
Yep.
Mhm.
For
Oh,
sure.
here, po.
Does anybody else feel that Vader's kind of been defanged?
Yeah, a little
Dangerous,
bit.
dangerous territory here.
No, this isn't just. This is like
Oh,
the
you mean
prequel
like-
stuff.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
not-
yes, I believe it was the moment when he went, no. Yeah.
No.
I
can't
I mean,
remember-
I went to like Disneyland, and there were children beating up Vader, and I got really sad.
Right,
like, I
because
guess-
he was scary in
He was
1977.
really a bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do I buy 2 copies?
I
of
read a
Sloth
really
Love?
good article, and I wish I could remember what site it was on today, talking about how if you see, and this is all prequel stuff, by the way, if you see the Jedi as being ultra conservatives and inflexible, and not necessarily
I
good
read that.
guys,
Yeah, I read that.
and then you see the separatists as sort of libertarians, the Sith and the separatists as people who are like just trying to fight against that oppression of the existing regime. And then you pitch Anakin as sort of a moderate who's trying to just kind of figure out how to take a middle course. Then his turning into Darth Vader becomes a really compelling story of rebellion. And you totally get why he would move all the way to join the Empire.
I mean, with the
or
exception
Palpatine.
of that bit about the younglings, because that's not okay anywhere, right?
Well, I mean, I guess the article was trying to say, and you read it too, is that you have
Yeah.
to change a lot of the prequels.
Yeah.
But the elements are in there.
Yes, the philosophical elements.
Yeah.
Have you guys read the Jar Jar is the Sith Lord?
Yes, I read that too.
Yes, so
That
funny.
one was fascinating.
Yeah.
Very funny.
Or
Didn't
like a
redeem
force
Jar Jar,
agent.
but-
A force agent,
Yeah.
which is what I liked. Oh, I'm thinking so many thoughts I can't say out loud. Can't wait
know.
to turn
Okay.
geek.
I know. I'm trying to decide if what I want to say is in fact a spoiler because it doesn't actually use any words you wouldn't know without seeing the movie. But if I have to think
Yeah.
about it, I'm just going to be safe and not say anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys, I gotta hit the road, Jax.
It's the road, Jax.
All right.
Don't
It's a
come
pleasure
back.
talking with you, Veronica.
Yeah, thanks for being on. It was great episode, and I'm definitely gonna watch the movie. I'm excited about it.
Let me
I
know
haven't
what
had a
you
chance
think.
to see it yet. Cool. All right, guys. Bye. Oh, Tom, I guess I'll see you in a couple days.
I'll talk to you tomorrow night for Sword and Laser,
Yes,
and then see you in a couple
that's
days.
correct.
All right, bye,
Wait,
guys.
she's on Sword and Laser? Now I'm even
I am
more
the
excited.
co-host of Sword and Laser
Now I'm even
For the
more
last
excited.
8 years.
All right, bye, guys.
Bye, Veronica.
Ciao.
I am almost done here. And then, anybody who has seen Star Wars The Force Awakens, we are going to do a special episode of Current Geek this afternoon at 4 o'clock Pacific.
With the coolest guests,
Oh, yeah.
like 3 of them.
Jenny Josephson, Tin Vec is going to be on, Justin Robert Young, and of course myself and Scott Johnson.
Give Scott my regards. He also interviewed me. That was very helpful.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We should have you on Current Geek if you want to come on.
What time?
It's usually on Fridays at 4 Pacific.
Yeah, that should work. Let me know. Not this Friday, obviously, because it's Christmas Eve.
Right.
but-
Yeah, we'll start back up after the first of the year. Just shoot me an email and Scott usually does the booking. Although Jenny, you're going to start helping with that, I think.
In
So.
the new year. We're booking, oddly enough, interesting people like filmmakers.
Yeah, I'm one of those now.
Yeah, because
Well-
we do a loot box
Yeah.
to support Current Geek. That's kind of our we're trying different things for different shows. And so if what we're trying to
I
do
would
is
gladly give you a copy of Algorithm, man. If you
yeah,
want.
that'd be awesome.
Oh,
Or-
look,
or
we just
several.
needed. That would be amazing.
Yeah, let me know how many you need.
Yeah, we'll
That'd
have to
be
talk to
awesome.
David. How
That's our
many
New Year's
boxes
project.
We got. Yeah.
Would you want me to ship them out, or do you want me to get them to you, or would it be? the
I'll
version
write you an
want?
email in the new
Okay.
year, and we'll book
Yeah.
you as a guest,
Sweet.
and then we'll figure out sort of like how many boxes we're currently sending out, and then we'll figure something out awesome.
That would be rad. Yeah.
But
I'd love to do that.
I actually teach new media at a school in these parts, and I would love to talk to you when you're ready to reveal your new business model, because I have been pushing up against the limits of crowdfunding in that class because the kids are all savvy and they're like, this just for the films that they want to make.
Yeah, the largest crowdfunding that I have ever seen by far was for the Ubuntu phone, which was like 17 million.
Wow.
They didn't reach their goal of 30 million, which they needed.
Yeah.
But for films, the peak is like 5.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's just barely. You can't
Enough.
hire anybody famous for that number.
yeah.
So, yeah, I when it's time, believe me, I will make myself available.
Excellent.
And even if you would just wanted to talk about other stuff for the class, I'd be more than happy to do that
Oh,
too.
cool.
Yeah,
That would be
anything you need.
awesome.
Cool.
All right.
What's your dog called?
His name is Jax. He's half asleep right now, but he's very warm.
I only picture him on a Harley now. That
I
name
know.
is forever hogified.
I know. He was named after a Mortal Kombat character.
I know that. I played Mortal Kombat. That would be Mortal Kombat 3, I believe, or 2.
Mm-hmm. This is that Jax.
All right, I'm out of the post. Thanks everybody for watching. Goodbye.
Thank you.